Hi, thanks for watching. This is James Robertson with Workspace Real Estate, and today's question involves what happens when a tenant has trouble paying rent. So I want to answer in short, what are your options when you can't pay rent anymore, business just went south, and you got to make a change? Well, first off, you have the following options. You can either buy out the lease, which usually involves paying anywhere from 40% to about 80% of that remaining lease term. Your other option is going to be to actually sublease the space. That sublease can be either where a tenant goes in, you are still liable for the lease, and they're just paying you, and you have to pay the landlord. Or in some cases, and usually a broker has to negotiate this, is where the broker can find a new tenant and just release you completely from the lease. And that's always favorable when you can get away with it. So here's another option, and this is the third option. It's pushing the red button. Now, when you push the red button, that means that you're in a bankruptcy type situation and you can't afford the time to sublease the space and you can't afford the money to do a buyout. So what are your options there? What will happen in most cases in major markets like Houston is that the landlord has the option to pursue you through the court system, depending on how your lease is worded. That could look like a situation where they are going to come after you for all the rent you owe, plus the cost to put another tenant in the space, plus the cost for you to build out and fit that space for a new tenant. And there can be additional fees and penalties there on top of that, including things like interest. It could be as small as you guys about to go to court and you settling. In some cases, depending on the size of your deal and how much build out was spent on you, the landlord may just choose not to proceed at all. Here's what's important. Before you get to that situation, you need to make sure that you are negotiating a lease that's flexible enough to allow for contingencies. Sometimes they call these clauses good guy clauses in leases, where it gives you an out, it gives you an option if there's an interruption to your business, so that you don't have to put your whole life on hold when something happens to your business. Because let's face it, things can happen, and you don't want your whole life to change because of that. So the bit of advice I would give you is you need to negotiate your leases correctly in the beginning, so that you're not in this situation and you're not thinking about, what do I do now? Instead, I set things up the same way the landlord sets things up, because they prepare for the worst too. So you need to prepare for the worst and make sure that your lease is flexible. I hope this information was helpful to you, and thank you for watching.